So the Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra is a phone that came out so many years ago. So let's go and see how this particular phone holds up in the later part of 2023. Now what's funny is, I don't know why, I kind of have my assumptions, but one of my most popular videos this year, and I think even last year, at least when it comes down to like the reviews that I've done, the comparisons always do better, but the reviews that I've done this particular year, this phone is almost always one of the more popular ones, which is so fascinating to me because this is probably a random phone that some people probably forget about. But a few highlights of this was the first Ultra lineup that Samsung made for their S series. Before this, they had their standard Plus series. So it's fun to kind of look at it in the later part of 2023 when we already gotten the next successor to this thing. But also, we're almost getting the next major iteration of this phone too. And the S24 Ultra is looking like a pretty big deal. The S20 Ultra on the front though has that 6.9-inch dynamic AMOLED display, 1440p, such a strong, amazing panel that Samsung made back in 2020. You could still use this phone's panel today, even like 4 or 5 years from now, and still feel like and look like you have an amazing display. To give you some perspective, the Samsung Galaxy S10 that came out in 2019 still is a better looking display in some cases than even phones like the Galaxy S23, which is insane. This thing had the curved side, it had 120 Hz, beautiful display, USB-C port, and microSD card slot at the same time. I think those two things are probably the reason why a majority of people look at this phone as still, a phone to pick up, is because this thing had that type of capability of having that microSD card slot, which is so awesome. That's another big thing to keep in mind. It also had that standard glass back, you had that, triple camera setup, kind of it was a quadruple camera setup, when it comes down to it. And it was a very, very good phone on the outside. You're getting wireless charging, reverse wireless charging, tons and tons of features across the board. Still an amazing phone when it comes down to it from the exterior. Some other big things, the software longevity of this phone is probably the one reason why I look at this device and probably wouldn't recommend every single person to buy it. Now, if you're okay with rocking a phone that's already kind of outdated, then maybe you can go and kind of buy this thing and be okay with it. But the problem that you're kind of getting when you're getting a device like this is that it's not really getting more software updates. That is the problem. That is the problem when you're getting a device like this. And that's why I just don't feel comfortable recommending a phone like this to the average person. Because you don't want to get a phone that is stuck on Android 13 when Android 15, 16, 17 are going to be coming out. You want to get a phone that's still going to at least have a year or two of software updates ahead of it. And although this thing is still getting security updates, it's crazy to me that this phone is done getting software updates. Because physically, it feels and looks like such an expensive phone. But that's just kind of not what's going on here. So it's kind of a sad thing, but that's kind of what happens with some of these Android phones, particularly from the Samsung side. Now, performance-wise, still a decent performing phone. You're getting that Snapdragon 865 chipset with 12 gigs of RAM and up to 16 gigabytes of RAM, which is crazy. Why would you need 16 gigabytes of RAM on a phone? I say that now, probably within 2 years, I'm going to be using a phone like that. But that's still a really cool thing that you have this type of capability. In a lot of ways, the Galaxy S20 Ultra is such a crazy phone still, and this thing's been out for so many years, but it's kind of limited in terms of software. And I would hate to, recommend to buy a phone for people if it's already kind of going to be outdated when you buy it. That's why I would recommend buying a phone at the bare minimum, a Galaxy S21 series or above, whatever it is. You do not want to go buy a phone that's already outdated unless you're comfortable with that. And, I think the S20 Ultra still probably has another year of security updates or two. So you might be okay for a little bit, but just go and buy an S21 Ultra, get Android 14 and just, kind of feel a little bit better from that standpoint. So that pretty much covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.